Hi, so I'm Maymuna, and I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. If you want to see how I wasted about 10 eggs and 2 hours of my time, then please stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. As you can tell, I'm in my kitchen. Well, not my kitchen, my in-laws' kitchen. Everyone is out of the house today. Sorry about that weird noise, guys. I'm next to a fridge that keeps like jumping. Anyways, which is fantastic as this gives me time to show you guys how I make my macarons. A foolproof macaron recipe. It's just gonna work. It's gonna work for you. If you've had any experience making macarons, you know it is challenging. You have to make sure everything you do is perfect, down to every last stage. I've made macarons about, I would say, 10 to 15 times. Yeah, the first 3 times I cried. They look like cracked, bald baby heads.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
You could pretty much make these macarons from beginning to end in the space of maybe 30 to 45 minutes, which is pretty good for macarons because they take ages. For some people it even takes like a whole day, but I ain't got time for that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate my egg whites from my egg yolks. So I have 3 eggs over here and I'm just going to begin on separating them. Yeah, so when you separate your eggs, try and be careful. Make sure that you don't get any of the yolk into your eggs. Oh my god, oh my god. Ah, I cracked a yolk into it. Yeah, you do not want that to happen, so when this happens, you're gonna have to start all over again, unfortunately. We're already off to a great start. The reason why you shouldn't get any yolk in your egg white is the fat in the yolk stops your meringue from forming. Egg whites in our bowl. The next step is to measure out your icing sugar and your almond meal. So you can get powdered almonds if you can find them, but I couldn't find any. I just have your basic ground almonds and some basic icing sugar. Now the secret to getting a really fine powder out of both of these, because we need a powder out of these, is to blend it up. You can use a coffee grinder or you could use this like a blender. I'm gonna use a smoothie blender. I'm gonna use a metric scale. You want to do this in grams. Do not use a cup, please. We need to be as precise as possible here. About 140 grams of almond flour, 130 grams of powdered sugar. So my smoothie blender is really narrow, and I tried to be clever and use a funnel to get the stuff inside, but clearly it wasn't working. The almond powder just kept getting stuck. Eventually used a spoon to scoop it in. Eventually. Okay, so that's in. I'm going to blitz it up in my blender now, so give it a shake. Just mix everything up. So I was watching back at this and I realized that I look crazy and that I have to give you guys an explanation for why this is happening to me. Well, basically our usual blender broke, so I had to use the smoothie blender and stuff just gets stuck at the bottom. So yeah, you can just watch me hit the damn blender until everything starts blending. Very entertaining. Okay, so I think that should be fine. The next step is I'm going to sift all of this powder into a separate bowl to get rid of any lumps. This will help ensure that our macarons have a nice smooth top when we bake them. Remove the top. Be very careful because there'll be loads of powder. And then just dump the entire thing out. If you have any large lumps of almond meal left over in your sifter towards the end, just throw that away because that's going to make your shells look lumpy and you don't want that. I'm going to use the oven to dry my macaron shells. And this is going to save me so much time. It's only going to take 5 minutes to dry them. In traditional macaron recipes, it can take like an hour to dry your macarons depending on the weather. So I'm going to do it in the oven. So I'm going to heat up my oven right now. You want to heat your oven up to about, I'm going to go with 160 degrees Celsius. And turn the fan on as well. You need to whip up your egg whites. Now I prefer using a hand mixer because it's so much faster and it gets the job done quick. You can basically over whip these as much as you like and nothing will happen. So make sure you whip them up a lot. Just keep whipping them. When you think they're done, just keep going. I'll show you what consistency you want to achieve towards the end. But yeah, just keep whipping. I'm going to add some sugar in at this point. So 90 grams of sugar. Got my 90 grams of sugar in. I'm going to whip this up now. Now that is a stiff peak. It's been about 10 minutes of beating my egg whites, and you basically want something like this. So if you just look, can you see the peaks? They're like stiff. When you turn them upside down, they're not going to fall out of the bowl, they're going to stick to the bowl. That's basically what you want when you are whipping your egg whites. Okay, the next stage is called the Macaronage, which is just a fancy French word for mixing. I'm going to be mixing my dry ingredients with my wonderful meringue that I've got going on here. So you want to sift it one more time as it goes in, just to make sure there's absolutely no lumps in here whatsoever. Next step is mixing. So this step is actually not as complicated as a lot of people make it sound like it is. You're basically trying to fold the mixture until you get a ribbon of batter. So I'm going to start off by just gently mixing my mixture. I'm going to start off by just kind of pressing the mixture in to the egg white first, like that. I want a ribbon of batter. So we're not quite there yet. And I'm going to have to keep mixing. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We just need a bit more mixing. Smooth, kind of ribbony. Yeah, like that. So I used some gel food coloring to color my batter pink. You can use whatever color you like. We're gonna pipe our macarons now. So this is the baking tray I'm gonna use. It's really old. But I'm not gonna go out and buy a baking tray just for the sake of making my video look good. Pieces of baking paper that I've drawn circles on. I'm gonna pipe on the back of this. So I'm going to pipe on the back of it. Okay, so I've got a piping bag here. I've got my mixture in my piping bag. I'm going to snip the top of my bag off. So just about that much. This is where the secret is when it comes to piping. So you don't want to push too hard on the paper. You kind of want to float on top of the paper a little bit. That way you'll get a really nice shape. Macaron batter will not spread out too much. So I'm going to try and show you guys here. So you just want to kind of float. When you think you've got it, lift off. Again, float on top. And then when you think you've got it, lift off. What I've done is I've switched the oven off. So the oven is off right now. And the inside of it is still quite warm. So you want to keep that closed because we're going to use that oven to dry our macaron shells. I'm going to just do this until the bubbles come out and the peaks will kind of flatten out a bit as well. So macarons have flattened out nicely. I'm going to put them into my oven. So just put them in the oven and you should see like a skin start to come up on top of them. This oven is really warm, it's not hot, so That should make a skin form on the macarons. You'll know that your macarons are done drying when they don't feel sticky to the touch. So I turn the oven on at this point at 140 degrees and I bake them for 15 minutes. Removing them from the baking paper might be a bit difficult, so sometimes I freeze them or I wait until they're fully cool to the touch. Your first batch of macarons might be a fail, and they might be undercooked or overcooked. Use the first batch as a test to see if you should bake your macarons for longer or at a lower temperature. I went ahead and filled them with buttercream and sandwiched them together and displayed them in this aesthetically pleasing heart plate. But yeah, these are my macarons. Don't mind the bed. They look okay actually. So yeah, that's my foolproof macaron recipe. I hope you guys try this. I'm gonna try one. Here I have my lovely macaron just here. Filled it with some icing, you can see. Yeah, so I'm gonna try it. Oh my god, I want to eat them all. You are eating my macarons. He is eating my macarons.